Welcome back to Clearly Established. I'm your host and Texas civil rights attorney, Brandon Grable. And I probably handle all of the civil rights matters for your favorite YouTuber. Who knows? I want to talk to you about my client's case. Maybe you know him, Otto the Watchdog, out of Trinidad, Texas. His story is one tiny piece to a much bigger issue. Let's get into it. Let's start this out with a question. Do you know what swatting is? You know, where you call 911 and you make false reports and you're essentially causing police to raid somebody? Well, that's swatting. And what the Texas legislature did in 2021 was they passed a new law that would criminalize that conduct, specifically false report to induce emergency response. Now, when you're thinking in the context of swatting, that makes perfect sense. You shouldn't be making false calls to have someone raided or held at gunpoint, or calling bomb threats to schools. That's what this law is designed to do. Well, now I want to talk to you about the good old city of Trinidad and its decision makers and policymakers. Starting out with the idea of a police chief who investigated and arrested somebody for this offense, not for calling 911, not for causing someone's life to be put in danger, but reporting on this substantial and significant water issue that the city of Trinidad has. So what did this citizen do in order to get arrested in Trinidad? Posted a Facebook post. That's it. She wrote her opinion. She wrote about what she had heard. She reported information that other citizens in the community wanted to know. And in response, the chief wanted to silence her by calling her post misinformation. And in response to this Facebook post, someone was arrested. The police chief wrote on the City of Trinidad Police Department page, quote, "I feel it's important to address the false information and rumors that have been spreading regarding the past boil water notice and the arrest made by my department." And then he goes on to say that he took an oath to protect this city, to make it better. And that includes standing up for the truth when misinformation is being pushed. The truth is simple, facts matter, public records matter, and spreading false information does nothing but divide the community. Then he sort of closes, it says, if you choose to ignore verified information from official city leadership in favor of rumors, speculation, or false narratives, then you are contributing to the problem rather than helping us find solutions. The facts are out there, the truth is available, and the people of Trinidad deserve nothing less. Chief Gregory. And then when people started commenting and ripping apart the chief's statements, of course, temporarily, they blocked anybody from being able to comment. And that's where my client gets involved. But I want to transition with this. So what we have here in 2026 is a police chief, someone with a badge, with the ability to take away our liberties and our freedoms, simply because he thinks what you're saying is wrong. How does he know whether or not someone's been hospitalized? How does he know whether or not somebody's actually suffered any harm whatsoever from this water? Who is he to be the arbiter of whether or not somebody can speak on the condition of the city or what's going on? So sitting here in 2026, as we're coming up on America's 250th birthday, I know for a fact that this is not the type of governing that our founding fathers had envisioned. And so before we get into the background of the case, let's start with a quote from Benjamin Franklin.
Hi, I'm Otto, and we are here today in front of the City Hall in Trinidad, Texas. So I'm here today because a man was arrested over a Facebook post just a couple days ago. I don't know what the post was about, but I saw that the chief of police responded. He made his own post and said that, you know, he's just fighting against misinformation.
The woman says she was arrested after posting health and safety concerns about a city's drinking water on Facebook. It happened in Trinidad in Henderson County, southeast of Dallas.
A Facebook post made by Jennifer Combs, a wife, mother, and citizen journalist, led to her arrest by Trinidad Police Department on May 8th. Did you have to spend the night in jail?
I did.
What was that like?
Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. It was one of the most probably humiliating things I've ever went through in my entire life. It was very, very bad.
So what was the Facebook post about? The city's water supply.
The best way I could describe it is it looks like the Trinity River is flowing from their water taps.
The post from her page Southern Bell Watch reads, in part, "We have received reports that some citizens have been hospitalized due to bacteria in the water. This is a serious public health concern that deserves immediate attention. If your water looks discolored, contains sediment, has a strong odor, or you have experienced related health issues, please send us a message. We are gathering information and reporting findings to the state."
The police chief had screenshotted it and posted it on the Trinidad Police Department page.
The April 6th post by Trinidad Police calls what Combs wrote false information that creates fear, panic, or unnecessary emergency response within a community, eventually charging Combs with felony false alarm or report. How would you describe the city's water situation right now?
The city's water situation is a struggle, without question. A lot of this stuff is original pipes that were put in here in Trinidad in the 50s probably. We have to get to a position where we can fix that infrastructure, and it's very expensive, as I'm sure you can imagine.
On Wednesday, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality confirmed to Fox 4 that it received a complaint regarding the water quality and an investigation is ongoing. It's unclear whether anyone has gotten sick from the water.
I've seen some Facebook posts where people have said they have gotten sick, but to me personally, I haven't heard anything.
In a post on May 10th, Trinidad Police Chief Charles Gregory doubled down on his decision to arrest Combs, calling the case cut and dry. He says claims citizens were hospitalized due to bacteria in the water are simply false and have only caused unnecessary fear and confusion in our community.
Meanwhile,
Are you aware that a lot of people have belief that the municipal water supply is poisoning people, and that things like chlorine in the water and what's that other thing? Fluoride is poisonous. Did you know that? And that it's some sort of mind control thing? I don't believe that shit. Not for a second, but some people do.
you don't believe fluoride is
I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Yeah. Why?
I'm asking for it.
No.
You don't have an ID?
No. Not on me. I do have an identification, yeah, but not on me.
What's the power? His main job in life is to get you to do something that will cause this city to pay him $70, $80, $90.
Oh, I think the chief has already done that. That's why I'm here. Well, I'm a law-abiding citizen. We're on equal footing, aren't we? You don't think so?
Once again, do you have any?
No, look at this stupid motherfucker.
Do you have identification on you?
No, I'm not gonna give it to you.
Well, actually, you're gonna have to.
I'm not.
Yeah.
See, hey, you see, I made an assumption that this guy might actually be a good one, and now he's starting to fuck it up.
I really don't care what you think, but so.
Okay, now see, I'm wrong again. You see how that works?
Sure, you're wrong for it. So you're gonna have to identify yourself because this has now become a criminal matter.
What's the criminal matter?
Disorderly conduct.
Oh,
Offended people
shit.
inside the city hall.
I offended people inside the city hall?
Yeah, which are not public servants. So therefore,
I'm sorry about that. Not really. I'm not at all.
Identify yourself.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Do you know what 4201 is?
What is that?
Well, it's literally the statute that you're trying to criminalize me for right now.
Okay.
It's the disorderly conduct penal code in Texas, 4201.
Glad you did your homework.
Oh, yeah. Ask me. You want to ask me how I know? Just so you're telling me that if I know the law that you're accusing me of, then I'm somehow the problem.
So do you want to go with the elements of the offense?
Sure. Yeah.
You're in a public place.
Okay.
And you use profane language.
Okay.
And you
All right.
offended a citizen.
Okay.
It's not a public servant.
So
okay.
Therefore, you have.
So because I offended somebody with my profane language,
He's not obstructing my investigation.
well, he's a witness to the alleged offense.
I'm still working on it. Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
I guess you're gonna fail the ID.
Well, now that I'm under arrest, I'll tell you my name. Am I under arrest right this second?
You putting me in handcuffs, yeah.
Okay, my name is Winston Knowles. There you go.
See how easy that was?
Yeah, 3802. Ask me how I know.
How did you know?
Because this isn't the first time, and these guys fuck it up all the time. You happy about this?
As Mr. Coleman, I'm here, Doug.
Well, if you saw another officer violating somebody's constitutional rights, isn't it kind of your duty to step in and tell them that they're fucking it up?
I didn't see that.
Can you tell me which non-employee of the government did I offend?
Our water clerk was offended by his words.
On May 12, 2026, what was your position with the city of Trinidad?
I was the utility clerk, water clerk.
Someone got offended
By what?
by his language in his voice.
So I can say fuck you right now, and if he gets offended, you're going to arrest me?
If he wants to file a complaint, then yes, I can.
At any point while you were there at City Hall, did you tell anybody that you were offended or threatened in any way?
No, I was never offended by any actions of Mr. Knowles.
Did anyone, Chief Gregory, any police officer, Ms. Dozier, the mayor, anybody ask you to file a complaint or to say that you were offended?
No.
It is disorderly conduct language when you come in and start offending somebody like that. Now, I can't get offended. The judge can't get offended. The city administrator can't get offended. But she's a water clerk. It's a whole different story.
So on May 15th, Friday, you submitted statements where you were like, I'm not a complainant. I was not offended. And then the weekend happens. And then the next workday, you're terminated.
Yes. I do have two separate statement forms. In both forms, they state that I was never offended. In my police statement, I actually capitalized never offended and underlined it because I wanted to get my point across that what they stated and what they accused me of was not the case.
Quintessential public forum standing on the steps of City Hall. I'm here to complain about a problem that I saw. Well, I'm guided by a Facebook post that the chief of this fine town made.
1 week later.
A grand jury has declined to indict a woman arrested over a Facebook post about water issues in a North Texas city.
Well, this was a quick decision by the grand jury, and now it is one of two arrests related to the water controversy that will not be moving forward.
I cover stories that get ignored.
Citizen journalist Winston Knowles goes by the name Otto the Watchdog.
And I focus on small towns because they need the most help.
And last week,
My name is Winston Knowles.
Knowles' 80,000 YouTube subscribers had live access of his arrest for holding up a sign outside Trinidad Police Department.
We are in a crisis with the First Amendment right now. What they did to me was so clearly unconstitutional that any reasonable officer should have known better.
On Thursday, however, Trinidad's municipal judge says Knowles' case is being dismissed, and a Henderson County grand jury no-billed Combs' case, meaning it's dismissed due to a lack of evidence. Now, for unknown reasons, City Hall is closed until next Tuesday, while many wonder what exactly is going on with the water.
So they just said, we're going to close City Hall until May 26th. That's pretty crazy. By the way, if you see the police chief, let him know I have a process server looking for him. I filed a lawsuit on behalf of Otto, and he's the only individual I have not yet been able to serve. Rumor is he skipped town. We'll find out. So I want to clear up the timeline just so you understand the 13 days I'm talking about. On May 8th, Combs was arrested under that swatting law because she wrote a Facebook post about the current water condition that even the mayor acknowledges exists. On May 10th, the police chief wrote that Facebook page where he doubled down and said he did the right thing. How dare you post about misinformation? And then on May 12th, when Otto realized that he was unable to comment on that Facebook post, and, before he really looked into it, he just realized hey, what is this police chief doing attacking people for misinformation and then not even allowing open dialogue? So he went to protest at City Hall. That was May 12th. And you saw what happened. He got arrested. On May 14th, I filed a lawsuit on behalf of Otto. And normally what I do to make these things go quicker and to save costs is I'll try to reach out to the city and I'll let them know, hey, we just filed this lawsuit. Will you agree for service? There's a procedure for that under the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. That message went to the city administrator, Sam Dozier, on May 14th at 4:44 p.m. Now, let me clarify something. On May 12th, the water clerk was allegedly sent home because she was offended. The water clerk did, in fact, go home. She told me that in my interview with her, but she did not make that decision. The city administrator, Dozier, made that decision. And then on May 13th, Dozier made the decision to close City Hall. So May 12th, City Hall closes early. May 13th, City Hall is closed entirely, all because of these arrests and ridicules, because, they can't take it. The policymakers, the decision makers can't face the public with what's going on. May 14th, the water clerk shows up to work. Nothing is wrong. Nothing's going on. It's business as usual. But then at 4:44 p.m., on May 14th, I provide Dozier, the city administrator, with a copy of my lawsuit. Of course, I get zero response. Absolutely no response whatsoever. And this was on a Thursday. The following day, on May 15th, Dozier, the city administrator, is allegedly at the county attorney's office all day. That's what maybe we're led to believe. We don't know. Not yet. We'll find out in discovery. But she's out of the office at City Hall. The water clerk is there. The judge is there. And it's at this point where the water clerk is presented with, hey, we need you to fill out this police report because we understand you were offended by Otto the watchdog. Of course, that's when she said, I was never offended. She highlighted it or made it big, underlined it, all caps. She turned it in to the police department. She has a backbone. She stands up for the truth. She's not going to be made out to be some fake victim to go in their scheme of trampling on First Amendment rights. Her morals are obviously higher than what any of these policymakers have. So what did the city do? Well, nothing yet. So May 15th, it's a Friday, the water clerk goes home. She's submitted her statement to the judge to have the charge dismissed, saying, I want to be clear, I am not a complainant. She submitted her police report to the police department saying, I'm not a complainant. I wasn't offended. And then lo and behold, the following Monday on May 18th, the water clerk goes into work and the city administrator, the same one who had a copy of my lawsuit, the same one who likely knew of the water clerk's statements of not being offended, the same city administrator who sent the water clerk home on May 12th, fired the water clerk. The water clerk reached out to the mayor. The mayor knew nothing about it. The way these small towns usually work is the city administrator is essentially the one running the city. They're the CEOs of the city. And I imagine that's no different with the city of Trinidad. So even if the mayor was notified of it, the mayor really probably is powerless in making decisions on whether or not the water clerk can be fired. That power rests solely, I believe, with the city administrator, Sam Dozier, or Cynthia Dozier. Guess how Cynthia Dozier got her job? Well, she was recruited and brought in by the chief of police, the same police chief that went after Combs and that went after Otto. Is it possible that he also went after the water clerk for not playing his victim? We'll find out in discovery. So May 19th, there's already a pre-planned city council meeting. Of course, my lawsuit doesn't come up. The water clerk being fired doesn't come up. Otto's arrest doesn't come up. The city apparently finalizes a contract to hire a city attorney. I don't know yet what happened to the prior city attorney, but May 19th, they get a city attorney. By May 20th, the city attorney presumably is sitting down with the decision makers to include Dozier and probably learns of what's going on because the rumors I'm hearing, and I want to be clear, these are just rumors, that the city attorney is already talking about resigning. And I've also heard a rumor that the mayor is considering resigning. They're going to have a lot of issues. Every single decision that has transpired over the last 13 days, that's putting aside all of the water issues, but everything that has transpired in that 13-day period is going to create years and years of litigation for the city. Hopefully they have insurance. Hopefully the taxpayers are not going to be left out hanging to dry because of the decisions by these incompetent folks. And then, as you saw, by May 21st, all charges dropped against both individuals. They're not going forward. So that's what we have from May 8th to May 21st. There's going to be a ton of lawsuits coming out of this. So stay tuned. So very briefly, the lawsuit I filed is pretty clean cut with Otto. It's about the First Amendment. There is no law that says you can go and arrest people because other people are offended. That's not how it works, not in this country. There's a ton of cases that support Otto's position. The biggest one, though, we all know, Cohen v. California from 1971. Paul Cohen walked into a Los Angeles County courthouse wearing a jacket, and on the back, the jacket said, "Fuck the draft." There were women and children in the corridor, so he was arrested for disturbing the peace. Because people in the courthouse were offended. He was convicted. But the Supreme Court reversed that conviction. The critical parts that the court said, the mere presumed presence of unwitting listeners or viewers does not serve automatically to justify curtailing all speech capable of giving offense. The state has no right to cleanse public debate to the point where it is grammatically palatable to the most squeamish among us. One man's vulgarity is another's lyric. So who cares if you offend a citizen with your words or language? Get over it. Leave. Otherwise, you don't have a greater right to the public square than the person next to you. 18 years after the Cohen case in Texas v. Johnson, the Supreme Court said it even more plainly. The government may not prohibit the expression of an idea simply because society finds the idea itself offensive or disagreeable. The Cohen case is 55 years old. The Johnson case is 37 years old. All of the officers involved in this particular case have not been licensed as long as these cases. They have zero excuses for what they did and for not understanding the First Amendment. Otto's lawsuit is not the only one that's out there. CJ Grissom has also filed a lawsuit on May 19th on behalf of Combs, the journalist that made that Facebook post and then was arrested for swatting. I know there's other lawsuits in the works as well. What I would really like to see are the citizens step up and say that what's happening in the city is not okay. Because the way that the decision makers in just a matter of 13 days has already tied their city up into massive litigation, it's not going to clear up anytime soon. The issues are just too big. There's going to be attention for quite a while. The question is whether or not you're going to let these decision makers keep making decisions for another 13 days. What is that going to do? What is that going to cause? Maybe the decision makers realize it, and that's why they decided to just shut down City Hall. Whatever the reason, this is just getting started. There's going to be more to come on this. So if you want to follow along, be sure to subscribe and like. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next one. This is Clearly Established. Thanks for watching.
I need some good news. Send me sipping on